I want to be hotter. There, I said it. That motivated you? You're goddamn right it did. And I know that sounds shallow, but that's only because it is. However, once you hear out my argument, you might be convinced too. Why you should work out? Because vanity. Now you should know that in these arguments, I'm going to cite some very uncomfortable studies that reveal a cold reality. So if you don't want to hear that, click off right now. With that being said, let's begin. Everybody brings up health as an argument for exercising, but that never motivated me. And I figured I wasn't alone in this, because if I was, everybody would be working out. And they're not. If you want me to brush my teeth, don't tell me to do it for my gums. Instead, hit me with the truth. Everybody says that your breath smells like shit. That's why nobody wants to hang out with you. And you're ugly. Don't you just feel the motivation? Anyways, we live in a world where looks matter more than ever, but for some reason we're not supposed to want to look better because it's shallow? Come on, and leave all of those benefits on the table?
I want you to look at these pictures. That is 20 ladies.
We all care about the way we look, so let's stop pretending like we don't. Here are some uncomfortable studies that show us just how much our looks affect us. There was a study named What is Beautiful is Good that found that beautiful people are just assumed to have more desirable traits like leadership, integrity, and honesty. This guy right here, that's a murderer.
I'm not afraid of him. He just doesn't look like the type to kill somebody. You try to imagine yourself in his place.
Oh, he's gonna get me next.
But yet you're fascinated by him.
Very.
And this guy's mugshot ended up making him a supermodel.
Underneath his left eye is a teardrop tattoo, sometimes a symbol of criminal activity. But now Meeks insists he's a changed man. He appeared at designer Philip Klein's fashion show.
Another study on 7th graders found that aggression made you less popular if you're ugly, but not if you're attractive. At first I thought, well, that's not fair. People shouldn't judge you for the way you look. And then I remembered the world isn't fair. People do judge you by the way you look, whether you like it or not. And I do it too, you do it too, we all do it. It's a bias in all human beings. And don't say it's some socially constructed behavior, because it's not. It's rooted in our biology. Evolutionarily speaking, in nature, humans have to make fast judgments way too complex for our consciousness to keep up. Which water is drinkable? Which food is edible? Who's hotter? Who's taller? Who's buffer? See how fast you made that judgment? It's an unconscious process that we can't even help. So why not make it work in our favor by exercising?
Do attractive men get away with more? I know that for a fact, because I've had to answer way more questions with this face growing up, I promise you, than Denzel Washington had to ask.
But Edgar, isn't Lizzo hot? What the fuck? You fell for that? Societal standards are changing, Edgar, but it's the biological standards that have a larger impact because they happen from the beginning. Infants will stare at attractive faces longer than they stare at non-attractive faces, and babies don't care about social constructs. This is a human universal. Biologically speaking, beauty is characterized by, but not limited to, symmetrical faces, strong jawlines, body proportions. For women, it's hip to waist ratios, so you're probably gonna see them working on lower body. And for men, it's shoulder to hip ratios, so upper body. But what about being overweight? Well, sadly, fat has an inverse linear relationship with attraction. But what if that's just America? What if Americans are just shallow? Well, I'm happy you brought that up, Mr. Strawman, because this study was done internationally, multiculturally. It involved China, Morocco, Iran, the UK, your own mother. Okay, maybe not your mother, but you get what I mean. The foundations for what we're attracted to are universal. Yes, there are differences in society, but they all have the same foundation. Look, I'm not trying to make you feel bad if you're overweight, But I am trying to tell the truth, even if it's uncomfortable. As they say, never worry about who will be offended if you speak the truth. Worry about who will be misled, deceived, and destroyed if you don't. Take a look at this example.
If what she does makes her happy, then I'm happy.
We all have a friend like Bridget who means well by telling us that we're beautiful just the way we are. But Bridget still stays in shape. So how about we stop listening to that bitch?
As long as she does it safely, I'm happy.
How do you do it safely?
She's healthier than I am.
No, she's not.
She knows looks matter and she works on herself, but she's gonna tell you not to work on yourself? Fuck that. Let me drive the point even further. Exercising doesn't just change the way that people in the streets treat you, it also changes how your employer treats you. People who exercise are more likely to get hired, and on average, people who exercise are actually paid more. Again, I know that's not fair, but that's the way the world works. So what are you gonna do about it? Change people's biology? Calm down, China. Let's change ourselves. The good thing about this is that attraction is malleable. There are things we can do that make us uglier, and there are things we can do that make us more attractive. And exercising is one of those that gives us a huge bump in our attraction level. I'm not saying I'm some runway model, but I am saying that I'm more attractive than I used to be. And the world treats you accordingly. It's really hard not to notice, to be honest. I mean, you could try this yourself. Go one day dressed like shit outside into the world and see how they treat you, and then go wear your best clothes and put on some cologne, and you'll see the difference.
We hired two actresses, Nicole and Joanna, to pose as stranded motorists with a flat tire. We wanted to see just how many people were willing to help. Nicole never has to wait long. In fact, she received help from 11 men in just 90 minutes. Now it's Joanna's turn. After 23 minutes, help finally arrives for Joanna from this guy. In total, 3 times the amount of men stopped to help Nicole.
Are you busy at work right now?
No, it's okay. You have AAA?
And stopped to help Joanna. And Nicole's average wait time next to that flat tire was 1/3 of Joanna's.
I'll figure it out.
Beauty bias or just good luck?
Yeah, that's kind of sad. And personally, I actually found Joanna kind of cute. But I still wouldn't help her change her tire. Alright, I know that was mean. But it was funny. But let me get out of my facetious side because I don't want my views to be misconstrued. I believe that fat people deserve compassion. But I also believe that the most compassionate thing we can do for another human being is to tell them the truth in a world full of lies. And that's where we live, in a world full of lies, telling people it's okay to be fat. It's not. It's killing you. And I also believe that the people telling you that it's okay for you to be fat are well-intentioned but are doing you a disservice. The truth is, you are going to get judged by the way you look. I wish it weren't true, but I also wish war wasn't true. That doesn't mean it's gonna go away. If you truly care about another human being, then you will tell them the truth and deal with the discomfort that comes with it. Because discomfort comes with it. But if you love them, you deal with that discomfort. In the words of Thomas Sowell, when you want to help somebody, you tell them the truth. But when you want to help yourself, you tell them what they want to hear. And the truth is, we are getting judged by the way we look, and we are getting treated accordingly. And even though people like to say that that's not true, we don't judge book by its cover, then explain to me why we spent $647 billion on advertising last year. What is advertising? Making something look good so others could want it. This is the world we live in. These are the rules we have to play by. I also would like to point out that I don't believe anybody or any topic is above scrutiny and criticism, and more importantly, jokes, because I make a lot of jokes. Having said that, this also applies to me. Come at me, bitches. Oh, and subscribe.